In the beginning there was only darkness and emptiness. The universe was silent, a vast expanse without form or sound, stretching endlessly in every direction. Nothing stirred, and time itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the first spark of creation. Then God spoke, "Let there be light." Instantly, light split the darkness, flooding the void with brilliance and warmth, marking the first day. The world was no longer empty. It was touched by the glow of possibility as shadows fled before the dawn. Day and night began their eternal dance, weaving a rhythm that would shape the passage of time. The cycle of light and darkness brought order to chaos, and the world began to turn with purpose. On the second day, God shaped the sky, separating the waters above from those below. The heavens stretched out, a vast expanse arching over the deep, and the air shimmered with the promise of rain and wind. The world gained structure, a blue canopy arching over the deep, a shelter for all that would come. The sky became a boundary, holding the mysteries of the clouds and the endless blue above. Next, God gathered the waters, revealing dry land called earth and the seas. Continents rose from the depths, their shapes carved by the retreating tides, and the world's foundation was set. He saw that it was good, but the land was bare, silent plains of rock and soil, waiting for the touch of life. God spoke again, and the earth burst with green. Plants, trees, and seeds of every kind sprang forth. Grasses rippled in the breeze, forests unfurled their leaves, and flowers painted the land with color and fragrance. Life and color swept across the continents, transforming barren ground into a living tapestry. The earth was alive with growth, each plant a promise of nourishment and shelter for what was yet to come. On the fourth day, God adorned the sky with the sun for day, the moon for night, and stars to mark seasons and time. These celestial lights became guardians of the heavens, guiding the cycles of days and years. These lights became the universe's great clock, guiding the rhythms of life. The sun's warmth nurtured the earth, while the moon and stars watched over the world in the quiet hours of night. The world was now a masterpiece of light, land, water, and sky. Each element blended together, creating a stage of breathtaking beauty and harmony. Each element had its place, set in motion by the Creator's hand. Rivers carved valleys, winds shaped mountains, and the land was sculpted by the forces of nature. The stage was set for life to flourish. Valleys grew lush, meadows became fertile, and the world awaited its inhabitants. The universe, once formless, now pulsed with order and beauty. Patterns emerged in the stars, in the flow of rivers, and in the growth of every living thing. The heavens and earth waited, ready for their living inhabitants. A sense of anticipation filled the air, as if the world itself was holding its breath. The story of creation was not just about beginnings, but about purpose and harmony. Every detail was intentional, every element designed to support life in balance. The world was prepared, a canvas alive with possibility. Like an artist's masterpiece, it awaited the final touches that would bring it to life. All was in balance, awaiting the next act. The earth was ready, its systems in harmony, its beauty unveiled. The foundation of everything was laid, and the adventure of life was about to begin. The world, once silent and empty, now brimmed with hope and the promise of countless stories yet to unfold. With the world prepared, God filled it with life. The seas teemed with creatures and the skies filled with birds. On the sixth day, land animals appeared, cattle, wild beasts and creeping things. Then God created humanity in his own image. From dust he formed Adam and breathed life into him. God planted a garden called Eden, a paradise of beauty and abundance. In its center stood the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. Adam was given freedom with one boundary: do not eat from the tree of knowledge. Seeing Adam alone, God created Eve from his side, a partner and equal. Together, they lived in innocence and unity, tending the garden. Their relationship was one of harmony, with each other, with creation and with God. Eden was a sanctuary, a perfect home for the first humans. Eden's peace was shattered by a serpent's deception, forever altering the course of human history. The cunning serpent tempted Eve to eat the forbidden fruit, whispering promises of wisdom and knowledge that would make her like God. Eve, curious and trusting, ate the fruit, then offered it to Adam, who also took a bite, sealing their fate together. Instantly their eyes were opened. Overwhelmed by shame and fear, they covered themselves with leaves and hid from God's presence, feeling exposed for the first time. When God confronted them, Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent, each trying to escape responsibility for their actions. Consequences followed: pain in childbirth, toil in the fields, and exile from the paradise of Eden, leaving behind the only home they had ever known. Life outside the garden was harsh and unforgiving, but Adam and Eve persevered, learning to survive in a world now marked by hardship. In time, Adam and Eve had two sons, Cain and Abel, who grew up in this new, challenging world. Abel offered his best to God, a lamb from his flock, while Cain brought an offering from his crops, but not with the same devotion. God favored Abel's gift, and Cain, consumed by jealousy and anger, lured his brother into the field and killed him, the first murder in history. This act of violence marked a tragic turn for humanity, as innocence was lost and sorrow entered the world. Sin and its consequences spread through the generations, shaping the lives of all who followed. The world, once perfect and whole, now bore the scars of broken trust and lost innocence. Yet, even in judgment, God showed mercy, offering hope and the promise of redemption. Humanity's story became one of struggle, loss, and the enduring hope for a better future and ultimate restoration. The heartbreak of the first family echoed through time, a reminder of both human frailty and resilience. The journey of humanity had only just begun, filled with challenges, lessons, and the search for meaning. The world would never be the same, but hope would always remain. As humanity multiplied, so did corruption and violence. God grieved over the world's wickedness and decided to start anew. Only Noah found favor with God. God instructed Noah to build an ark and gather his family and pairs of every animal. When the ark was ready, the flood came. 40 days and nights of relentless rain. Waters covered the earth, wiping away all but those in the ark. After months adrift, the waters receded. Noah, his family, and the animals stepped onto dry land. God made a covenant, promising never to destroy the earth by flood again. The rainbow became a sign of this promise. Life began anew, cleansed and given a second chance. The world was changed, but hope endured. A new chapter for humanity was about to unfold. After the flood, humanity grew and spoke one language. United, they settled in Shinar and built a city with a tower reaching for the heavens. Their ambition was fueled by pride. They wanted to make a name for themselves. God saw their defiance and confused their language. Suddenly, they could not understand each other. The great project halted, and people scattered across the earth. The city, called Babel, stood as a monument to human pride. Diversity of language and culture began here. God's plan for humanity to fill the earth was set in motion. The scattering was both a judgment and a new beginning. The world's many voices now echoed across the land. Generations later, in the ancient city of Ur, God called Abram to leave behind his homeland, his family, and all that was familiar, and to journey to an unknown land. This call was not just a physical journey, but a leap of faith into the unknown, trusting in a promise that seemed impossible. God promised to make Abram into a great nation, to bless him and to make his name great. Through him, all peoples on earth would be blessed, a vision that reached far beyond Abram's own lifetime. Abram obeyed, setting out with his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot, leaving behind comfort and certainty to travel to the land of Canaan, guided only by faith in God's word. Despite facing many challenges, famine, conflict with neighbors, and years of waiting without children, Abram continued to trust in God's promise, even when hope seemed distant. One night, God reaffirmed his covenant, inviting Abram to look up at the countless stars. "So shall your offspring be," God declared, promising descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. In time, Abram's name was changed to Abraham, meaning father of many, and Sarai became Sarah, marking a new chapter in their journey of faith. God promised that Sarah, despite her old age, would bear a son. This child would be the beginning of a chosen people, a fulfillment of God's extraordinary promise. In gratitude and faith, Abraham built altars wherever he went, marking the places where God spoke and where his faithfulness was remembered. The covenant between God and Abraham became the foundation for a new nation, a people set apart for a special purpose. Through Abraham's faith and obedience, God's blessing would ultimately reach every nation and every family on earth. The journey was one of faith, hope, and trust in the unseen, a path walked with courage and perseverance. Abraham's story became the cornerstone of a people set apart, inspiring generations to trust in promises yet to be fulfilled. The promise endured through generations, echoing through history as a testament to faith and the enduring power of hope. Against all odds, Sarah gave birth to Isaac, the child of promise. Isaac's birth brought laughter and hope to Abraham and Sarah. Years later, God tested Abraham, "Sacrifice your son Isaac." Abraham obeyed, trusting God's purpose even when he didn't understand. At the last moment, God stopped him and provided a ram instead. Abraham's faith was proven and God reaffirmed his promise. Isaac's life continued the covenant. The test became a symbol of ultimate trust in God. Through Isaac, the promise would endure. Faith, even in the darkest moments, shaped the destiny of a nation. Isaac's son Jacob, born after a struggle with his twin Esau, grew up amid family rivalry. Jacob, with his mother's help, deceived Isaac and took Esau's blessing. Fleeing Esau's anger, Jacob journeyed alone. One night he dreamed of a ladder reaching to heaven, with angels ascending and descending. God renewed the covenant, promising Jacob land, descendants, and blessing. Jacob awoke, awestruck, and named the place Bethel. The dream marked a turning point. Jacob, the deceiver, was chosen by grace. He would become the father of 12 sons, the tribes of Israel. Jacob's journey was one of transformation and faith. The promise passed from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. God's faithfulness endured despite human flaws. Jacob's legacy shaped the destiny of a people. The story of Israel was set in motion. Jacob's favorite son, Joseph, was envied by his brothers. Sold into slavery, Joseph endured betrayal, false accusation, and prison in Egypt. Yet through every trial, God was with him. Joseph's wisdom led him to interpret Pharaoh's dreams, predicting famine. He rose to power second only to Pharaoh and saved Egypt from disaster. When famine struck, Joseph's brothers came seeking food, not recognizing him. After testing their hearts, Joseph revealed himself and forgave them. "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good," he said. The family was reunited, and Israel's people settled in Egypt. Joseph's journey turned suffering into salvation. Forgiveness triumphed over betrayal. The story of Genesis closed with hope and restoration. The foundation for a nation and a promise was secure.